Welcome to another episode of the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing. This week, the Secretary of Community Development and Culture, the Chairman of the Carnival Committee, the stakeholders of the Windward and Crown Point Carnival Committees, as well as the Chairman of Pan Trinbago for the Tobago region, addressed the media.
We had a relatively good carnival. I always judge the standard of Tobago Carnival with what happens in Port of Spain. And if I am to speak, I think we have had a relatively good. We have had our shortcomings, our weaknesses, but they're subject to correction and appropriate remedial action. Nonetheless, we're going to share with you information here. I want to take a minute off to say congratulations to Mary Toby and her executive at Pan Trinbago, who I think did exceedingly well. I was there with them from the word go, single pan, into the medium and small band category. I was there with Pan Trinbago, giving them all the support I could give in the Queen's Park Savannah in the semis. We've had 14 bands into the semis, and we have had 8 into the finals. I don't think Tobago has done as well in past times. Mary, congratulations to you and your team. Please convey our sentiments. I must say the same to Tuco, Ainsley. We have come a long way, and good things are coming out of the Tuco and the allied, the allied groups of Calypsonians in Tobago. And again, they have been very supportive. We have worked together, and congratulations. I don't think any of the Calypsonians made it to the Big Yard or the Queen's Park Savannah. But there are more times to come, and we are hoping for the best. Windward, you have done well yourself. That's under Mr. Julian Celestin, your Afro group, and Afro Queen, and the Calypso Monarch. I think you shared this responsibility with Mr. Ainsley King, and that went off well, to the best of my knowledge. We have had Crown Point again, who have done pretty well this year. I was present there, and things went well for them. There were 1 or 2 scrimmages, but that doesn't spoil the pot. Congratulations to Martha Archer and her committee. She's not with us at this time, but they too deserve a big round of applause. I don't think I've missed any of the interest groups here, but all the other groups that participated in making Tobago Carnival what it was 2016, congratulations, appreciation, and thanks from the Festival Commission and the Tobago Carnival Committee.
Crown Point has experienced this year a 75% increase in both visitors and masqueraders' participation. We had 13 bands that made it on the streets, and there were 11 of them that crossed the judging point. We had 2 categories in Crown Point. The winner of the first category is from the band Fog Angels, and they portrayed Fogalicious. The second category winner was Green Devils. They portrayed Green Jumbies, and they were the winner in the second category. We had an overall Band of the Year, and that was also won by the band from Fog Angels portraying Fogalicious. This has been the first year we had an overall Band of the Year, and congratulations to Fogalicious. Crown Point is surging in its celebrations of Juve, and we do thank all the persons, all the stakeholders. We had both business and support from the Division of Community Development and Culture, and we are thankful for that, and we look forward to a bigger and greater celebration for next year.
I'm very much pleased to present to you a brief synopsis of what would have happened over the carnival period in Roxborough 2016. I would like to start with the Junior Extravaganza, which took place on the 4th Thursday the 4th. And we would have had tremendous success again this year. Last year we had 13 schools participating. This year we have 20 schools, and I think that is a tremendous effort. The event continued to pique interest of a number of persons in the Windward area and outside of Windward, not just the schools, and our intention is to take that event to the next level. From there, we move on to the Windward Afro Queen and Calypso Monarch finals that take place on Saturday the 6th. We had a full house at Roxborough. I must say that the show was professionally done. I think the Kiddies Carnival was well attended. The infrastructure was there. The police protection was there. From that show, we go straight into Carnival Monday, where we have, I think, 21 bands across the stage. I must say that the Link Road, played its role. There were no traffic congestion in Roxborough. Last year, I understand that people who want to catch a 3 o'clock flight had was to leave like 8 o'clock in the morning. That didn't happen this year from Speyside, the hotels in Speyside, because of that Link Road. It really eased the traffic congestion in Roxborough immensely. And I would like to really commend Councillor Melville for having the road done as promised. All in all, Roxborough experience was a good experience. The carnival continued to grow. We as a committee continue to plan already for next year. And I'm sure that I would invite everyone back to Roxborough, and I'm sure that you would be fully entertained.
As you know, Pan Trinbago would have started their competition as early as the 11th of January, where we had the single pan bands and the small and medium on the 18th of January, and the large category on the 19th of January. And the Division of Community Development and Culture was responsible for putting the infrastructure in place. And at this time, I really want to commend the division for doing that on time for us to have the competition came off at that point in time. In that competition, we had 16 bands participating. When I say 16 bands, both in single pan, small, medium, and large, one large conventional band. And coming out of the preliminaries, we had 14 bands qualified for the national semifinals in Trinidad. And out of that, we had 8 qualified for the finals in Trinidad. And I must say that the result coming out of that is that the bands here in Tobago were well prepared and even assisted by the Division of Community Development by way of instruments and stuff like that, assistance. And in the finals, we would have had 2 bands coming out top. When I say top, in second and third position, which is NLC Buccaneers and Petrotrin Cats and Jammers, that is in the medium category. And the lone band in the large category was RBC Redemption Songsetters. We placed 8. When I said we, RBC placed 8, right? And in the small category, we had Tiantec New Eastside Dimension placing 7th, and All Boys placing 10th. And I want to say, as a region, we are very, very proud. And as Tobagonians, we ought to be proud. And I know Madam Secretary is proud because she knew the work that she would have put in with us as a region. And that means that in each category, we have bands in the top 10 in Trinidad and Tobago. I just want to say, as the chairman of Pan Trinbago Tobago region, I was having a conversation with the secretary just a day or 2 ago. maybe we would have to look at rebranding Scarborough on Carnival Monday morning as Steel Pan and Old Mass throughout Scarborough on Carnival Monday. And I just want to say Pan Trinbago is open for dialogue at any time in order to take our carnival here in Tobago to a next level. Because we realize that we have Juve in other areas, and somewhat it would affect some of the young people by gravitating to these areas. So we really have to look at some form of incentive for the steel band movement and to keep steel pan alive in Scarborough.
Today I am reporting to you on behalf of the executive of the Tobago zone of the Trinbago Unified Organization. I want to begin by letting you know that we at TUCO, we always acknowledge every effort. And saying so, we would have seen auditions where some people came, some people were not ready for to move to the next level, but we acknowledge them. We also acknowledge people who came in for the first time. Many of them did a great job. We acknowledge all the winners of who made it to the different competitions. For example, we had 3 people who were good enough to convince the national judges, and they made it to Skinner Park. They were the only ones representing Tobago at the national level. And to those who make it to the final. But the bottom line is, we see everybody as winners. And our reason for that is because our mandate is really about development. When the people do good, we celebrate that. But at the same time, our focus is mainly on those that needs that development. We are committed to that. And we also continue to celebrate the Calypsonians like Calypso Rose, Nelson, Shadow, who are seniors now. They are in the senior citizen bracket. But they have done a lot where convincing the world, the region, of what the Tobago Calypsonians can do. And for that, we continue to celebrate them. But we are also committed to the development of Calypso in Tobago. And I want to give credit and thanks to the stakeholders, because this year what we have seen is a better relationship being developed. And it came through dialogue, which I always believe is the right way out. And that dialogue, I believe, is what is needed to even help that mass situation in Scarborough. Because, I mean, too often we continue not doing the right thing. But we know when we do the right thing, we always get the right results. So it simply means that the situation with Juve and so on in Scarborough is that something is not being done right. And we need to get our hands on that. Maybe we need to get the people who might be able to take the job done. I want to put focus on, well, the Calypso tents, because we have more than one tent, right? We have the flagship with the Magnificent Glow, run by TUCO. We also have Masters. We also have Bacchanal, and I want to emphasize on the Bacchanal Calypso tent because they, to me, were here for quite a long time. I was a little boy when Bacchanal was in existence. They were off the scene for a while, and I see that they are back, and that is an extremely positive sign. I want to give credit to those who are the managers out there at Dallaford, because, I mean, we are speaking here about the Windward and of Tobago, and it is good to see that positive energies continues to generate in the Windward. I think Valentine is the head, and also Harold Stewart. These people, these men are the leaders up there. And I commend them because the move is a very positive move, right? And anything that is positive, we celebrate it. I want to zoom in to the efforts of the TUCO tent. We set a mandate, and that mandate is to develop better relationship with the patrons and the Calypso lovers. Because, I mean, we have noticed for a number of years, we had the challenge because we started to go to the communities and so on. And then we had the challenge of people actually coming forward to pay to come to Calypso shows and things. So we have decided to make a change. And that is mainly to encourage more respect for the Tobago Calypsonians, to encourage more participation. Calypso is in good hands, without a doubt. But we cannot just say that and just leave it. We have to do some more work with the juniors. We continue to work hand in hand with our stakeholders, and I'm saying this because I want this to register also that we have to do new things. We have to continue developing, bringing more quality to what we do. But as we do that, we need to make sure that more emphasis is placed on our younger ones, because that will definitely help us where succession is concerned, right? And we'll have to make sure that at the end of the day, that the thing continue to rise. We get better quality as we go along. Our future projections for as we go through the year, we intend to work on a summer camp for the juniors to help to develop those that are already active and practicing the art. And we are hoping to accommodate those who want to start. We also want to have a writing workshop. And that workshop, we're hoping that we could accommodate the seniors and also the juniors. We have in October Calypso History Month. We are focused on getting ready for that, where we celebrate works of the past, our artists of the past and so on. And we have the Vintage Calypso Monarch, which to us is an event that is looked forward to by many. I want to also put the spotlight on assistance where some of our senior Calypsonians are concerned. Mighty Shadow is not too well. I hope that something could be done for him. I also want to use this opportunity to carry out a struggle that I am presently working on, well, myself and my executive, and that is to get Shadow to get his doctorate. It is a process that needs a lot of research and a lot of work. And I'm calling on Tobagonians to come forward so that we could assist in this drive. Because, I mean, Uncle Bailey is now a senior citizen, and he's not as strong as before. And, I mean, I'm hoping that this could be accomplished before he chooses to move away. You know, I choose to say it that way, right? And I'll now choose to conclude. TUCO, the Tobago Zone, I want to give compliments to the executive because I have a team of people that to me have demonstrated great competence, high level of understanding, and they are prepared to work for the cause of the development of Tobago Calypso. And we continue to do that. I just want to take the opportunity to highlight them. We have Michael Baker as my vice chair. We have Kenneth Thomas as my treasurer. We have Jeremiah Comby. He's my secretary. And we have Andy Stewart, who is my welfare officer. We have Opoko Wari, who is the research officer, education and research officer. These men have been working very hard. And I must say, the contribution made by them contributed to us having, I must declare, one of the better Calypso seasons for a very long time.
We have heard from all of the stakeholders within the carnival period, and therefore I think we can all conclude that collectively that we would have delivered on the promise to have a big bang with our carnival for less bucks. And when you compare it with the Trinidad experience and some of the other community festivals that they would have had there, some of them that they had to put off, I think we would have done quite well in Tobago with the whole carnival experience that we have been able to put on, given the impact of the recession. I therefore wish to applaud the Tobago Festivals Commission and the Carnival Committee for their hard work, and of course the special interest groups for their understanding of the situation, our constraints, and the willingness to collaborate and ensure the success of the 2016 Carnival product. You would have heard of all the achievements, and therefore, when we look at success, we look at the whole picture. The achievements within the Pan Arena, where we have broken our own records, entering the semifinals and, of course, the finals. Significant increases over the past year. Also, the fact that the medium band category was dominated by the Tobago zone, where you actually had 5 Tobago bands out of the whole 10 performing. And it really speaks to the level of collaboration and relationship between the division and Pan Trinbago, and the support to the Pan groups in respect of their various training programs over the past year. Many of them would have done literacy programs in addition to the usual teaching persons to play Pan. Additionally, we would have supported them with our Pan instrumentation program, and additionally ensuring that activities throughout the year, events put on by the division, that we involve the Pan players in some aspect. We also have programs like the Pan Folkorama and the Black History Month in Canby, Mount Pleasant, where we bring both Pan players and the Calypsonians together, and therefore giving them the exposure and the additional experience so they keep themselves active outside of the carnival period. It therefore becomes easier to get them back in the mode of training for carnival. I also wish to commend TUCO because the feedback you've heard, the standard of the performances across the board were lifted. And I must echo Mr. King's sentiments that Bacchanal Tent must be commended for their resurgence with the Aquarius Band. It's the only Tobago-grown brass band that we have here, and they must be commended for coming back on the scene. I've also given my commitment to them to work with them in developing a junior band so that we can put some succession planning in place. But apart from coming back on the scene, they were able to have 2 Calypsonians get into the Windward final show. And that says a lot, because since I've been here, I don't think Bacchanal Tent has had any finalists in the Windward Calypso competition. And to have had 2 of them there after coming back on the scene, they must be commended for that. Across the board, the young Calypsonians must also be commended for this high standard at which they performed. And that whole experience also speaks to the relationship with the division and the stakeholder TUCO, where the Calypso as an art form is concerned. over the past year and even the year before, we have put on calypso writing workshops targeting the young persons, not just in the high school, but also in the primary schools across the island. And so in collaboration with TUCO, we will continue to ensure that that platform remains for the training. You cannot speak to effective preservation of the art form without targeting the young people and putting the essential training in place so that they have the tools to ensure the authenticity of the art form going forward. In addition to that, providing the platform for further exposure and experience. We have the Pembroke Vintage Calypso Competition, where we assist TUCO in putting that on, and of course, again, in the Black History Month at the Mount Pleasant Pansign. We've also, over the past 3 years, given significant support to the unattached tents to ensure that all Calypsonians everywhere will have the opportunity to practice and showcase their art forms. The mass leaders, we have the National Carnival Band Leaders Association, Mr. Terence Sandiford, and of course the Tobago Carnival Band Leaders Association, Ms. Gemma Bedlow. They must be commended for the workshops that they would have held throughout the year, preparing the local band leaders for 2016. We will continue to support those efforts, as we all perhaps would have seen that the investment resulted in the significant improvement of the quality of the mass in respect of creativity and even the number of registrants and masqueraders that we had on the streets during this carnival period. In fact, if we look at some of the comparative data, we see where when we look at the juniors conventional on Saturday and Roxborough on Sunday, we had at least one additional band registering as compared to last year. On a Monday in Scarborough, conventional bands, we had 2 additional as compared to last year, and in Roxborough, 1 additional as compared to 2015. The Monday night mass remained the same. In Scarborough, we had 10 registrants last year. We had 10 registrants this year. I think the difference we saw there was the number of persons who would have participated in the Monday night experience in the bands, the number of masqueraders. In Roxborough, they increased from 5 last year to 7 this year. In the area of the conventional bands on Tuesday, we had 3 additional registrants who showcased on that, who actually showcased on the Tuesday in town. 2 came from small bands and 1 additional into the medium band category. Overall, they noticed an increase of a little over 250 masqueraders throughout the bands on Tuesday. Our prize giving ceremony will be held before the end of February, and at that time we will be inviting all persons who would have excelled in their various categories and from the various competitions that we have had, including, of course, our interdepartment and Queen and Personality, the Personality and Calypso Monarch Show. On another note, let me say how heartened I am that the staff at the Division of Community Development and Culture has returned to full working hours.
Thank you for staying with us for the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing for the week ending 13th February 2016.